In February, we started a series about relationship with God. January, we were talking about relationship with others, and now we're talking about how to create a more awake, a more aware relationship with the Creator ourselves. So I'm just going to launch in here. I know you all don't need review. You've been doing very well, so we'll just take another step. Does the whole work against itself? When you think about that, if the whole works against itself, how long is the life journey going to be? Are there going to be moments when it stops? When it may even eventually destroy itself? That is not the natural instinct for any creation. The natural instinct is to live, to thrive, and to grow. But in order for that to happen, we must begin to start thinking about the good of the whole. The good of the whole. Now, if you're thinking that you have to sacrifice for the good of the whole, what are you asking the whole to do? Sacrifice. You're asking the whole to sacrifice. You're asking the whole to now be less than it once was. So sacrificing for the good of the whole, is that really for the good of the whole? Is it for your good? No, because you're becoming less than you once were. So these are ideas you already know. I already know them. I know I'm not supposed to do them. I still do. All right. We are not to sacrifice for the good of the whole. We're supposed to take our place in the good of the whole. Take your place in the good of the whole. Spirit said this. When cells start expressing themselves in a way that is not for the good of the whole, think of cells expressing in a way that is not for the good of the whole, we create disease, the cells of your body. When the cells in your body are doing what they are supposed to do, the skin cells, the internal organ cells, everything works in harmony and we have health. So the cells are not designed to be the same, they're designed to be unique. And when they do their job and stand in conjunction with the whole, we have the health energy. Imagine a world where cells that make up the whole are all running around doing what they want individually at any given moment. And what would that world look like? Would there be harmony? Would there be wholeness? Would there be a greater purpose? Would there be cohesiveness if all the cells are running around doing whatever they want? Some of you might think that that's what our world looks like today. But it can't, because if it did, we would not be here. There's got to be enough cells doing their job, holding their space for the good of the whole for us to continue. So, they asked me to bring this visual to you, so you have a visual. I know we need pictures to affiliate with, to associate with. So if you think of your life and ask yourself, how much of your life energy do you do for the good of your soul? For your soul. How much do you do for your spirit? And then how much do you do to satisfy your needs? And I'm sure the percentage is probably more for needs than soul. More for needs than soul. Okay. If I do something for the good of my soul, I'm actually doing it for the good of the whole. Do you realize that? If I do it for the good of my soul, it's for the good of the whole. So, when I do that, then I can take my right and perfect place. When I'm living at a soul level. All right. And I know we're starting very basic right now. Everybody already knows all this, right? Okay. So, when I tell you these things, when we talk about the percentage that you spend here and the percentage you spend there, you will say to me, but I have needs. I need to make a paycheck. I need to pay my bills. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to take care of children. I have needs that I have. Right? And that is why I spend so much energy invested in my needs versus invested in the good of my soul. You can live millions of lifetimes doing that very thing. That very thing. And I say do it. If you want to enjoy it. Keep coming back. Keep wrestling with life. Keep doing that. Keep putting your soul on the back burner. And keep getting your needs met. It's a great game. Get your needs met. But we're taught spiritually that God knows you have these needs seek your spirit and all your needs will be provided. That's what we're taught. When you seek spirit, when you seek the good of your soul on this planet, then everything that you need comes to you magnetically. Without effort, it comes to you. The money you need, the opportunities that you need, everything that you need, that you would have invested energy creating, will naturally come to you when you're living your soul's purpose. Okay, you're metaphysical Christians. Do you believe that?
Yes.
We don't have 100% here.
That's good.
Nope. Nope. If we trust that God, that we live in that beautiful sea that we talked about last week, that beautiful golden sea of God love, if we live in that, everything is available to us. It's up to us to just ask. All right. Realize that the things that you deal with, the matter that you deal with, the relationships that you deal with, the interactions that you deal with, you're in a school. These are your tools. You're thrown into these situations. You're thrown into this, I need to manifest this. You're thrown into that job. These are tools for you to learn for who? Your soul. For your soul. For you to really learn about how to move through matter, how to manifest through matter. There are opportunities for growth. You're in the great school. And if you really start looking at it that way, then when you're going to the grocery store to try to find groceries, you could be doing that for your soul. You could be saying, holy mackerel, what does my body need? Let me now lift up and let me not just begrudgingly go buy everything I've always bought. Let me just say what is for my highest and best, and let me lift into a higher perspective. Everything can be looked at that way. And we know this, yes?
Yes.
All right. We learn through matter. I wanted to share with you a couple of things, and again, this is review, right? At least I'm not singing the ABCs. Quiet Mind by White Eagle. Jesus said, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." This does not mean selfishness. It means kindliness to yourself because you are God's child. Do not give yourself more attention than you need, but take care of yourself. And here's what I want you to hear. Do not continually slay the God within you. Give opportunities in your daily life for the Christ within to manifest itself. This is what we mean by loving yourself. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." Love peace of mind, love doing the right thing, love living according to divine law. Do not continually slay the Christ within you. Do you all hear that? Do you know how often you make small the Christ in you? And we do it automatically. I do it automatically. When I ask for your opinion about something that I might have done, did I do it well enough? Do you think it's going to attract energy? Do you think somebody's going to understand what I said? And I listen to your opinion. Do you know what happens to the Christ in me? It gets smaller because I didn't say it the way you wanted me to. Even though in the moment I knew I was doing exactly what God asked me to do. And I was flowing. I was awesome. I was amazing. I was in God's love and it was perfect. I knew that when I did it. And when I ask for your opinion, I start slaying the Christ in me. I make it smaller. How simple is that? To make me little. How do you make yourself little? How often do you not even include that beautiful Christed consciousness within you in an opportunity, in a situation? You know, when you're having a challenge or a problem, to say, okay, in me, the Father moves through me, the Christ in me is strong, and I am going to allow it to express now. How simple is that? I wanted to share with you some scriptures of what Jesus taught. This is out of the Aquarian. And I'm going to start chapter 36. He's a young man. He's like early 20s. He went to a place called Ladakh, and he taught these people how to heal. He's in his early 20s. How to blot out sins and how to make on earth a heaven of joy. Next chapter, he is at Lahore. He's in India. And a man named Ajanim came to him, And he taught this man how he could control the spirits of the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. He explained to him the secret doctrine of forgiveness and the blotting out of sins. All right? Chapter 79. John is talking about Jesus, and John says, "Lo, love divine, which is the Christ, abides in him, and he is pattern for the race. And every man can see in him what every man will be able to do when he has conquered the passions of the selfish self." Jesus comes to bring the pattern for men, and he bathes forever in the living waters of holy breath. Love is Savior of the world, and those who follow Jesus as a pattern and a guide have everlasting life. Love is Savior, it is a pattern. Now, I've got two more I'm going to read to you, but let me just pause for a moment. Did you hear anything in those scriptures that you do not yet do? Power over the air. Using that light to manifest higher things. You know, Jesus manifested in a way that mankind does not. He manifested not just through attracting to him what he needs. He manifested by creating it out of nothing, out of the ethers. Okay, all right. The next one is 91:35. All men are sons of God. Jesus is speaking. If they live a holy life, they are always at home with God. They see and understand the works of God, and in his sacred name can perform the works. The lightning and the storms are messengers of God, as well as the sun, rain, and dew. The virtue of heavens are in God's hands, and every loyal son may use these virtues and these powers. Man is the delegate of God to do his will on earth. Man can heal the sick, control the spirits of the air, and raise the dead. Because I have the power to do these things, it is nothing strange. All men may gain the power to do these things, but they must conquer the passion of the lower will, and conquer they will. Every man has the power to do these things. Still on our ABCs? Okay, telling you a story now. 117. Story time. Jesus and the disciples are out in the water. Evening came, they were in 3 boats. A storm came on, and the boats were tossed like little toys. The water swept the decks, and the hardy boatmen were afraid lest all be lost. And Thomas, the disciple, found the master fast asleep. And he called, and Jesus woke, and Thomas said, "Behold the storm! Have you no care for us? The boats are going down." Does that sound like you? Okay. Jesus stood, he raised his hand, and he talked to the winds, and he talked to the waves as man would talk to men. And lo, the winds blew not, the waves came trembling and kissed his feet, and the sea was calm. And then Jesus said, you know what Jesus said. "You men of faith, where is your faith? You can speak, and the winds will obey your voice and hear you." And the disciples were amazed. And they said, "Who is this man?" Jesus expected the disciples to be able to talk to the winds. He expected his disciples to be able to calm the storms. He expected that. Calming the storms and talking to the winds is your kindergarten step. It's your kindergarten step. And most of you have already done this. How often are you sitting in the car and it's pouring down rain and you say, "God, I need to get in that building. Give me just a window." Okay, rain, nature spirits, do what you need to do. But I need to get in that building and I need a window. So if you could calm for a second, I'd appreciate it. And what happens when you do that? It calms. It calms. And you know my famous story that happened a couple of years ago. There was a tornado in our area. I sat and prayed. And it was nearby, and I said, "Okay, nature, do what you need to do, but pass by us and harm no man. Do what you need to do." I ask that our property is safe. Pass by us and harm no man. And the tornado went over us and hit our neighbor's driveway and put a tree down, and it blocked their driveway for several days. And I told them about our prayer. And they said, why don't you pray for us?
Yeah.
I didn't think about it, actually. Every one of us has called for divine blessings and intervention with weather, have you not? Why do you stop there? Why do we stop there? Why do we stop there? Why can't our life be filled with those moments of miraculous intervention with the divine? Because we are children of God, and we have that right to be the delegate of God on earth. Not to power out over somebody else, not to tell somebody what to do, but to be in cooperation with the whole, to be doing it for the good of the whole, and to be doing it in love. And another famous story I tell quite often, we were in Kansas City and there was another tornado coming. And I remember deciding this was not my time to go. So for the good of the whole, I choose to live. And for the good of the whole, I choose for this to pass on. And it did, of course. When we are functioning for the good of the whole, we can feel the rightness of it, and everything moves for us. It moves for us. Because we're children of God. But when you tighten up in fear, what are you doing to the Christ within you? Use the word slay. Let's get that word in our brain, because that's not a nice word. If we're slaying that Christ within, if we're diminishing its value, you know, how powerful can that inner Christ become to express? So I want us to expand. We know these things on paper. We read them on books. We need to expand it in our consciousness that the love of God can flow through me, and I, as child of God, am in this school. I have tools. I have matter. I have relationships. But God is in me, and I can flow through my Christ for the good of my soul a new lesson. Maybe I don't want to learn it that way. Maybe I want to learn it this way. Does anybody ever want to learn to be debt-free? That was my desire, to be debt-free when I was young and I was in debt. I learned to be debt-free, but I allowed myself to have a house mortgage. You can have a mortgage and you can pay off the car. You can have a car, but you're going to be debt-free the rest of it. And that's what I set up in my universe, and God in me created it, and I've lived in it for over 25 years. If I need something, money comes for it, and I pay for it. Do you understand? That's my lesson, that's my tool, that's what I'm playing with in the matter. You all have your own. But where do you think your desires come from when you start actually creating them? Do you think they come from your current level of consciousness? They come from that Christ in you, the higher part of you. And if it's coming from there, do you own what you need to manifest it yet? I mean, you're living your current level of consciousness. You have what you have. To bring greater, you need to bring greater of you in. To bring the Christ, to open the Christ up and let it express. Greater energy of God's love moves through you, greater things can manifest to you and through you. You getting that? Say, I heard about that before. And I know you all do it periodically. I know you do it. I know you do. All right. They're asking us to think of the good of the whole. To think of the good of the whole. All right. Spirit said this. There's one crucial step in manifesting this, and this is stop expecting your human self to do it all and to do it alone. Stop expecting your human self to do it alone and to do it all. You are not created to do that. You're created to partner with Spirit. You're created to let your own inner Christ grow. You're created to see your greatness, and you're created to let Spirit move you to that. Does everybody understand? All right. There is I'm going to give you a visual. So in my years of walking the planet, one thing my soul loved and wanted to learn was feng shui. So I learned power feng shui. I studied it for 5 years. Over the time when I've done this work and gone to people's homes, I go not knowing anything about them and walk through their house and do my thing. I won't say it's not uncommon, but I will say it's more frequent than you would imagine. I walk through their home by myself quietly, and then I talk with them. More frequently than you would imagine, as I'm going through someone's home, they have a room that you can't walk into. They have a room with boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes, and there's not even a path. I mean, there might have been a path one time, but now it's got boxes in it. And energy, no matter how you look at it, is not going to flow through that room. Do you understand? So we know that they're stuck somewhere. And you would think that I would say, clean that room up. I do not say that, because they can't clean that room up. They put stuff in there because they're not able to process it. That is holding all the stuff they can't deal with yet. I can't deal with it, I just got to put it there. Can't deal with it, got to put it there. So it just becomes this place where they can't deal with it. When you think about your higher self and why you are not manifesting the Christ within you, I guarantee you, you got a room somewhere. We all have rooms somewhere where we've piled all of our stuff that we just can't deal with yet. And what I tell my clients, we got to make a path to the closet. You just got to squeeze that stuff out and let's make a path to the closet. Or a path to the window. There's got to be a path somewhere. I don't ask them to clean the room. It's too much. But we can create a path. So as we're starting to manifest, don't you think the first thing that you're going to hear in your mind is that room that has all the fears that you can't deal with? As soon as you said we could do this, oh no. That room goes, oh no, you can't do that. You can't do this. Nobody's coming in. And then, when you see that, we have to bring our higher selves into where? That room. We bring our Christ into that room, and we open a path to make it through that room. Do you all understand? I'm going to give you a very personal example. I was fabulous when I was younger. I was amazingly fabulous. Personal example, I was amazing. I was working with spirit, meditating, manifesting in my way for what I needed in my desire body. I was seeing myself great. I was that close to walking on water. I was amazing. Did you see? That close to walking on water. I was cooking. I was by myself, had my son, and I was amazing. I was fabulous. Then I got into a relationship. I met Patrick. I found my room. I found my room that had a history of all the relationships and all how do I relate to people and oh my God, and this is a man and I've got to co-create with him. And do you hear me? My room was packed. There was no path. There was no path. And do you think I felt powerful anymore? No. Walking on water, throw that out the window. I'm not as far along as I thought I was. I had a room filled with fear. And 28 years, my room's pretty clean right now. But it took a journey to bring my Christed nature into relationship. And you know, in those early years, many times I was with gritted teeth. He is your son, God. I do not know what to do with him. Boom. And God always took him and fixed him. You know? But I'm sharing my heart with you and my soul to let you know there is hope. But we all have that space where our Christed nature has not been allowed to express. And some of us can do rituals great, we can do awesome meditations, we can do all these things, and we still have bills we can't pay. You know? Or we conquered the bills, we've got the money, it's fabulous, and then we have a relationship that's difficult. Just because you have to consider somebody else's feelings. That can be hard. You see? We're here to Christ on every level. We're here to bring that divine spirit that we are through at every level. So we can't be afraid of our rooms of fear. We've got to clear the fear. And we may be fabulous in so many other areas, but we've got to clear that as well. All right. As we pray for help, we are asking God to make a path from the door to the closet, from the door to the window. That's all we got to do, make a path. If you make a path, everything will just find its own natural space. Everything will iron out, goodwill, trash, everything's going, everything's in motion. But we can't do it of ourselves. Ourselves we're overwhelmed. We have to bring in the divine and our Christ. All right. Can you say, I have that?
I have that.
All right. How can I encourage you to know that you are a child of God? Our world is being bombarded with superhuman pictures, isn't it? We have superheroes in every movie. But what does that superhero need in order to shine? A victim. They need a victim, they need a challenge, they need something to rally so they can be a superhuman hero. That's not what we're asked to do. We're asked to be superhuman, divine in the creation of life, not in the saving of someone. Superhuman in the creation of life, super divine, and just, it could be a simple life, it could be a beautiful life, it's your life. You don't have to be anything that people would say is good or bad. You just have to be you. You are God's delegate on this earth. To you is given all the tools to thrive and survive in joy, to have your needs met without effort. And we say this all the time. We say this all the time. You're God's child. We say this all the time. So I want you just to ask yourself, what am I doing to make my Christ light smaller? And what can I do to make it bigger? To brighten it, to let it be bright every day. If you even spent 1 week waking up and saying, my Christ light is going to flow through me brighter today, do you know you will be a different person in 7 days? Because you will have integrated it more in something. You may not hit the big room yet, but you will have integrated in what you do have. Everybody good? Okay, so let's anchor this in. I want you to put your feet on the floor. Take a breath and just visualize a beautiful golden column of light coming over you. Father, Mother God, we ask that your light enfold each one here. I ask that their Christ begin to quicken in their hearts, and that they feel your touch while we work. And I would invite each of you just to let your focus go to the heart, to the energy in your heart center. And see that strong, beautiful golden light beginning to vibrate within you. And just imagine that you can journey into the garden of your heart. Just imagine. If you're visual, you might see it. If you feel, you just might feel yourself going deeper. I want you to find that place in your heart where there is safety and love. God. Begin to feel the energy of God moving through you. And begin to feel that you are God's child. Feel that which we call the Christ in your heart. Universal love, one with God. Feel the peace. And just let it move through you energetically. I am. I am. And take a breath, and as you exhale, embrace your greatness. Take a breath. Exhale and send it out through this garden. And I embrace my greatness. I am. And I embrace my greatness. Just feel the expansion. Feel the expansion. Infinite possibilities flowing through into you. And God, I ask you bless each one in this moment, that they feel your touch. That all the fears are melting and that the boundaries are being released. And if you're ready in your mind's eye and your vision, stand in this energy. And if you're ready, you may say, I now choose to take my place in the good of the whole. You don't have to say it, but if you're ready. I now choose to take my place in the good of the whole. And just feel it is always for the good of your soul. We thank you, God. Breathe, feel that beautiful gratitude flowing through you. Feel the energy expanded. Come back to this moment. Feel the chair underneath you. Gently open your eyes when you're ready. Now I know, next time I'm watching the weather, and I see rain here, and rain here, and rain here, and rain there, I'm going to know you guys are in the in-between places. I'm going to know you're up there making things happen for the good of the whole. You ready?
Yes.
Say, yay, God.
Yay, God.